I'm not throwing in the towel just yet. This is my drying towel. As you guys can see, I'm back down here in the utility room. I'm getting ready to clean on my buckets and clean on my taps and all the tubing and stuff. You know, here's one of the taps. But what I want to show you guys with this post is how I set up my cleaning process to kind of make it manageable, but then also how I actually clean out or flush my lines, because that's always a little bit tricky. And I just got stupid lucky when we moved into this house to have this wash station and that rubber hose that she fits perfect around a tap to flush the line out. So let me break down how I'm cleaning everything right now. I'm gonna do a time-lapse video, the very first one I've ever done. So let's see how well that works. Can't promise it's gonna work that well. But yeah, let me show you guys how I'm cleaning everything and let's get started. Now this is how I make cleaning these buckets and barrels and lines manageable. So I bring in usually one set of buckets first. So this is my neighbor Brett, who lets me tap his property. I've already got a few of the buckets clean, but I bring in all of his buckets first. I clean everything, flush everything. Once I'm done with that, then I bring in my other neighbor's buckets and clean those. And that way it's just manageable, because to have this whole area full of buckets and barrels, it just, gosh, it never seems like it's never ending. So that's how I set up the actual process, or as far as cleaning goes and staging everything. And then here is where I'm going to show you guys how I flush out the lines, because getting these lines clean and getting all the sap out is very important, because you will get some serious bacteria built up. Then you got to throw away the tap and the tubing. So let me show you guys how I go about doing that. Now this is a really tricky camera angle, so we'll see how well this works. As you can see, I've got this rubber tube here that came with this wash station, and this rubber tube actually happens to fit right around a tap perfectly and create a good seal. So once I've got the tap inserted in the rubber tube, I turn the water on and I flush out the line just like that. And I will do this with all my lines. Some of the bigger lines will do right in the barrel just because it's hard to control. But once you flush it out, there you go. It's all done. So, and then you can spin it around, dry it all off, because you want to make sure you get it dry too. But yeah, that's pretty fortunate how easy it is for me to clean some of these taps. So once you get these single taps flushed out, I always try to dry everything. Now drying the longer lines is a little bit harder. I'll show you guys how to do that later, but drying these single ones is easy. I basically grab the end of the drop, spin it around to get the water out that way. Then I grab the end of the tap, spin it out that way, and there you go. Now that line is dry. So again, not only getting the sap out is super important to keeping the bacteria down, but getting all the water out as well. So let me try a time-lapse video and try to show you guys cleaning all these buckets and barrels. So yeah, fun stuff. Now I've got all of Brett's lines clean. I've got them all flushed out. You guys can see I got them laying here on the floor and hanging up and everything. And I'll show you guys in another post how I go about drying these longer lines. It's not exciting, but it is the only way I can get all the water flushed out, because again, I want to avoid, don't know if you guys can see that, but that is a very small piece of mold that's at the end of this drop. And if you do not get everything clean and flushed out properly, you'll get this mold that builds up throughout the line and then back in the taps. And that becomes an issue, and you've got to replace those pieces or cut those pieces out. So, yeah, not very interesting, but again, all part of the process. Now I'm going to wrap this post up here, just going to take a break for a second, because it probably took about, I would say, good 30, 35, maybe 40 minutes to clean all the buckets and lines, and that's only 9 buckets. So I really do not like cleaning buckets. That's why I try to run as much tubing as possible and put as many taps on one run so that I can have one collection station, because every bucket I can eliminate is a small victory for me personally. So hope you guys enjoyed this post. Again, and not really that exciting, but just want to show you guys how I go about cleaning the buckets and barrels and lines. Hopefully you guys like the time-lapse video. It's the very first one I've ever done. So again, that was probably about 20-25 minutes condensed into 23 seconds. So it is pretty cool. I might start doing more of that stuff, but yeah, really appreciate you guys watching this post. Again, my name is Jay Ball with Blue Jays Maple Syrup, and we'll have another chapter in cleaning everything, because there's still a lot more stuff to clean. So stay tuned and have a good one.